I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm not like these other reality people. Like, I'm a real bona fide 5-time Emmy nominated journalist. Difference. So for me, I am not comfortable publicly saying or calling someone else a liar without knowing the legitimate facts. That's where I'm standing with that. I wasn't on no, you're not my friend. I don't want to side with you. It wasn't nothing to being messy, but my responsibility for my job and my integrity.
Me a Billy Goat said I can't sing. But for me, I'm looking at it like, I mean, she's an amazing singer, but for you to sing so great and the only time people really want to talk about you is because you beefing with me, then that's a problem. Sis, I think you need to be working on promoting your views and not promoting your drama with.
But she's still on you.
I'm not playing games with clowns. Like, I'm not gonna be in the circus with you, sweetheart. Like, we're not doing it ever again.
Let's talk about Tamar Braxton for a second, because nobody can deny it. The girl can sing. The pipes are real. The talent is undeniable, and her voice has never been the issue. But here's where people are starting to side-eye the attitude. And more specifically, why does Tamar seem so pressed about Kandi Burruss? This isn't a little shade or a harmless moment. This has turned into a years-long fixation, with Tamar dragging Kandi into drama that has absolutely nothing to do with her. At this point, it's exhausting to watch. Because when you have this much talent, why waste your energy on beef that doesn't even make sense? Focus on the craft, not the chaos.
My marriage, I was having issues with my career. Things were like all over the place. You personally interjected yourself in the situation by talking crazy about me. But you just should have said nothing. Okay. That's on a train.
Okay. So anyway, what I was saying was, on the tour, I personally wasn't even thinking about all the stuff. I thought we was totally moved on for that.
From my perspective, it was totally, utterly disrespectful and unprofessional. What?
Now, let's get into the real root of this mess. Because according to Jessie Woo, and you already know Honey Jessie always has the tea, Tamar's issue with Kandi comes down to one word: jealousy. Yep, that's it. Tamar is reportedly pressed over Kandi's success, financially and career-wise. And look, we all know comparison is the thief of joy, but at some point you have to ask, is it really worth spiraling over someone else's wins? From where most people are standing, Kandi has been more than patient with Tamar over the years. But it looks like that grace has officially run out. In a recent interview, Kandi didn't hold back. She called out Tamar's insecurity and revealed that Tamar has allegedly been trying to sabotage her career ever since Celebrity Big Brother. Let that sink in. Imagine being so triggered by someone else's success that you actively work to tear them down. That's not competition. That's not confidence. That's unhealed trauma on full display.
Sorry, I will always windmill for Kandi Burruss. When I saw her do that, I was like, oh, the humility. She's always been humble. She's always been humble. But the humility. She comes in early. She don't got a big entourage. You don't gotta babysit her, which I've seen with with Tamar. You don't have to babysit her. She comes in, she gives you the least work to.
And speaking of careers, let's actually compare, because the numbers don't lie and the receipts are loud. Kandi's career is thriving right now. She's producing hit shows, landing acting roles, running successful restaurants, and expanding multiple businesses. The woman is booked, busy, and paid. Meanwhile, Tamar always seems to be caught up in some kind of conflict. It's never quiet. There's always an issue, always a feud, always drama attached to her name. And I keep seeing the same question pop up in the comments. Why doesn't Tamar just focus on her singing instead of all this chaos? Honestly, that's a fair question. Because when you're the common denominator in every beef, every fallout, and every controversy, at some point you have to stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror. And maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't everyone else.
I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to mend our relationship. For too long, we have just been a roller coaster of emotions between the two of us. A lot of people didn't know that. And I'm just glad we were able to fix it.
So, where did all this beef even start? If we go back to the origin, it all really blew up on Celebrity Big Brother. But the tension? It actually goes back even further. Tamar claimed Kandi was being shady backstage during the Great Escape Tour. Meanwhile, Kandi saw it completely differently. She felt Tamar was intentionally bringing rude, disrespectful people backstage, and that's what sparked the initial friction. Basically, the bad blood was already brewing before they even stepped foot in that Big Brother house. Now here's where it gets interesting. On Big Brother, Kandi tried to be the bigger person. She genuinely attempted to squash the beef. They even had a reconciliation moment. It seemed like maybe they could finally move past it. Kandi even invited Tamar to her dungeon tour, talk about extending an olive branch. For a brief moment, it looked like things were finally cool. But fast forward a little, and now we're stuck with the Carlos King situation, proving the drama is far from over.
Even like hair and makeup, when she would bring up Kandi, hair and makeup, like, yeah, okay, yeah, we know she ain't a good person. We know, like, it's like, we know. But she could never give us why Kandi was not a good person. It gives Amanda Seales and Issa Rae. The way that super chat just talked, it gives Amanda Seales and Issa Rae. You know, when you just don't like somebody, you've had awkward interactions with somebody, but it's just not enough for you to just say, you know what? I don't like that person. But you have to go on a media blitz to get everybody not to like that person. Tamar is to Kandi, well, Amanda Seales is.
So here's the latest twist. Kandi and producer Carlos King had a major falling out over a documentary. Kandi even went on record calling Carlos a thief. Bold move, right? But here's the thing, she didn't mention Tamar at all. It had absolutely nothing to do with her. Enter Tamar, stage left. Instead of staying neutral or just minding her business, she decided to insert herself into the drama. And how? By shading Kandi. She said she didn't agree with calling someone a thief, implying it was a little off the deep end. Then, when pressed about what she would do if someone told her story without permission, she went on about her own experience with the Braxton family biopic, how she felt left out. Now, let's be real. If someone was telling stories about her or the Braxtons without permission, you know Tamar would be ready to throw hands, defending herself and her family. But when it comes to Kandi, suddenly, she's over here tossing shade instead. Make it make sense.
Him a thief. You know what I mean? I think that's a little, like, off the deep end.
Well, what would you do if somebody tried to do this to you and your sisters? They tried to tell your story without your permission.
Well, okay, so here was the thing. So my sister did our biopic, right?
Okay.
And I feel like everybody else was involved, but I had nothing to do with my character, and I was in my feelings about that.
Okay.
But everybody else was involved, so that's a different kind of thing. So you really don't want nobody telling your own story. But at the end of the day, I just feel like they're all the time unauthorized, like, versions of people's lives, and this is just a part of being an entertainer.
Then there's the whole Andy Cohen incident, which only escalated the drama. Tamar went on record claiming she was threatened by a Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member. At first, she didn't name names, but later she posted something that seemed to implicate Kandi. Kandi immediately denied it, insisting she never threatened Tamar or involved her husband in any way. While she acknowledged that she and Tamar had disagreements, she made it clear the narrative was being twisted, but by then, the damage was already done. That's the thing about Tamar. She's extremely skilled at playing the victim, positioning herself as the one being attacked or wronged. But when statements like these potentially affect someone else's reputation or marriage, it's no longer just drama, it's dangerous. Through it all, Kandi has largely stayed professional, responding only when necessary and otherwise ignoring Tamar's provocations. She remains focused on her work, producing shows, acting, running her businesses, and earning respect in the industry. People who work with her consistently note her professionalism. She comes prepared, doesn't demand unnecessary attention, and makes the team's job easier. Meanwhile, Tamar exhibits a pattern of conflict and victim playing. She has consistently thrown shade at Kandi over her singing, her ego, her business ventures, and even her restaurant, with old clips resurfacing of her criticizing Kandi's work. Despite all of this, Kandi refuses to engage, showing that she won't take the bait and only addresses issues when she's directly lied about. Jessie Woo highlighted that Tamar repeatedly brings up Kandi without real cause, stirring drama unnecessarily, much like the Amanda Seales versus ISA situation, making people dislike someone simply because she doesn't. Ultimately, the root seems to be jealousy over career trajectories.